The mysterious life and death of abandoned cities. Hey, I'm G. Let me ask you, what happens to cities once they're abandoned? Maybe you wondered about this too. Like why whole neighborhoods crumble or why urban areas suddenly become ghost towns. Today we're diving into how cities go from bustling hubs of life to eerie, overgrown relics of the past and what we can learn from their decline. Welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About, where I tackle everyday questions about the phenomena and objects around you in quick bite-sized episodes. I do the digging so you don't have to, and I bring the answers back in a way you can listen to on your break, on your way to work, or whenever you got a little free time. Before we get started, just a quick heads up. I'm not an expert on urban decay or archaeology. I'm just a curious person who did some research so you don't have to. My goal isn't to tell you what to think or what to do. It's to explain how the system works from a big picture perspective. So let's explore this together. The journey to understanding abandoned cities isn't a single event. It's a process with several key steps. Let's break it down. The first one is initial prosperity. Every abandoned city starts as a thriving community. Think of Pripyat, Ukraine, a model Soviet city built to house workers at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. For 35 years, it had modern schools, parks, and a 150-foot Ferris wheel until disaster struck in 1986. Next is triggering events. Decline is often sparked by a seismic event, literally or metaphorically. This could be a natural disaster like a Hurricane Katrina's impact on New Orleans, economic collapse, Detroit's deindustrialization, or political decisions, the forced evacuation of Hiroshima Island in Japan. The next one would be population exodus. Once the trigger hits, people flee, businesses shutter, schools close, and public services like trash removal stop. Imagine the city's heartbeat slowing, empty streets, silenced playgrounds, and cars left mid-commute. Detroit lost 60% of its population between 1950 and 2010, leaving behind 150,000 vacant buildings. Next is physical deterioration. Without maintenance, nature reclaims human structures. Water breaks down concrete, vine roots and cracks, and wildlife moves in. The crumbling mansion in The Great Gatsby meets Mad Max, but real. Next is ecological succession. Over time, plants and animals repurpose the ruins, forests grow where highways once were, and foxes live in subway tunnels. This isn't just decay, it's a new ecosystem. Next is modern exploration. Abandoned places become museums of the past. Urban explorers or urbexers document these spaces, while government debate whether to preserve, demolish, or repurpose them. Even though abandoned cities can be a hot topic, raising concerns about safety, nostalgia, or urban planning, there are areas where most people agree. Historical value, safety first, sustainability lessons, inspiration for creativity. We'll start with historical value. These sites offer physical records of cultural, economic, and technological shifts. Safety first. Most agree abandoned buildings pose risk, e.g., collapses, toxic waste, which is why many are cordoned off. Sustainability lessons. Their decline forces us to rethink how we design cities to avoid future failures. Inspiration for creativity. From movies to art, these spaces spark imagination. Witness the popularity of the Fall documentary, capturing Pripyat's haunted beauty. The story of abandoned cities didn't happen in a vacuum. Here's some background. Historical context. Urban abandonment isn't new. The American West Gold Rush ghost towns, e.g., Body, California, emerged in the 19th century when ore ran out. Similarly, industrial towns like the English mill cities declined with the rise of globalization. Legal precedents. Laws like the U.S. Urban Renewal Act of 1949 aim to revitalize cities but often displace communities, creating new forms of abandonment. Environmental regulations now also play a role, such as the cleanup laws governing Chernobyl's exclusion zone. Now, I want to be transparent about my own bias. I tend to romanticize abandoned cities. There's something poetic about nature reclaiming concrete, but I also recognize this romanticism can overlook the human cost. People didn't just leave Detroit. They were pushed out by systemic neglect, racism, and inequality. That's my lens, one that balances wonder with accountability. To put things in perspective, let's look at a historical parallel. The fall of the Roman cities. Cities like Pompeii and Ephesus were once thriving centers of trade and culture. Their decline, due to economic shifts, earthquakes, and the empire's collapse, parallels modern abandonment. Today, we excavate these sites to learn from their success and failures. Similarly, studying Detroit or Pripyat helps us adapt better for the future. There's no single path forward. Here are a few different approaches people are taking. Adaptive reuse, preservation as museums, nature reclamation, urban planning lessons. We'll start with adaptive reuse, converting abandoned cities into new spaces. Abandoned power plants turned into Europe campus. Preservation as museums, making spaces like Pripyat or the High Line in New York commercially viable while honoring their history. Nature reclamation, letting nature take over as the Carsick Cars project in China, where a car graveyard became a wildlife sanctuary. Urban planning lessons, developing smart cities with resilience in mind, like Singapore's focus on sustainability to avoid boom and bust cycles. These aren't mutually exclusive, and the final answer will probably be a mix of several. So, what should you think about when it comes to abandoned cities? It's a complex, multi-stage process involving prosperity, disaster, human choice, and nature's quiet rebellion. There's no magic bullet, but there are lots of tools in the toolbox, from preservation to reinvention. The key is to balance respect for history with practical solutions for the future. That's it for this episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Leave a comment with your thoughts or a topic you'd like to hear about next time. Maybe the science of nostalgia or the economics of cryptocurrency. Until then, stay curious. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Statements are based on current understanding and public information.